Welcome to today's dispute letter writing workshop for credit sweeps. Now, if you have any negative items on your credit report, collections, charge-offs, repos, late payments, bankruptcies, judgments, whatever, this is the video that you're going to watch until the end, because not only am I going to show you what questions you need to answer when you are writing your dispute letter, but I'm going to show you step by step what you should be looking for on a credit report to write your letter for results. Because remember, it's not getting easier to remove negative items, it's getting more difficult. Now, first thing I want to do is make Word white so you can see what I am writing just a little bit easier. We're going to change it from black over to colorful. Let's go. Okay, that is a little bit better. All right, so these are the questions that you need to answer. Now, things to remember before you write this. You're a real person. Being a real person means phrasing such as pursuant to, and it's my intention, and unless you, legal action should not exist in your dispute letter. Unless you'd like your letter to be verified without further investigation, it's recommended that you use extremely unique phrasing. I mean, while you may write a letter using phrasing taken from different apps like Live Letter, Time Machine, or other software systems, they should all be edited and customized to fit your specific unique situation, okay? So for personal information, it's very straightforward. You need to answer name, date of birth, address, and full social security number. Now, obviously, you know what needs to go there, okay? So for the recipient, questions we need to answer. Who is it? You need their name and their full address, right? So Equifax, PO Box 740256, Atlanta, Georgia 33374. That's an example. Now, your opening paragraph. Remember, we are not writing a 4-page dispute letter. We are answering very specific questions. And if you don't answer these questions or you don't do it the right way, you're not going to remove your negative items, okay? So why are you writing this letter? What is the outcome of the letter? Why is this so important to you? Is this a follow-up letter? And if so, was the previous one ignored? If not, did the information change on the credit report per your most recent request? Now, I'm going to show you how to answer these questions, but let's go down to disputed accounts. Which accounts are you disputing? Why are you disputing them? What outcome do you seek? And remember, we have the Agero Formula, and I'm going to show you how to answer these questions using that formula that I use to remove all different negative items. Again, collections, foreclosures, repossessions, whatever, okay? Now, your letter closing should be very simple. Now, obviously, how do you want to close this letter? Is it a regular request? Is it an urgent request? What is it that you want to say? Now, I'm going to show you how to write this, but let's go back and just answer these. This is going to make it so that you can write this letter much easier. So let's just go fill this in. So we're going to do Equifax, and I'm going to auto write that. There we go. So we have our recipient's name and their full address. Now, the opening paragraph. Why are you writing this letter? Well, let's say that we already sent a dispute letter, it was ignored, and the negative items are still on there, right? So this is going to be very, very simple. So I'm going to write this down here, and we're writing this separately from the actual dispute letter because this is going to give you a blueprint of how the letter should be written, and then you just go and copy and paste it, okay? So okay, so I built this out for you already, and we're going to go over it. So this would be your first paragraph. I sent in a letter last month disputing the negative items listed below, and you ignored the letter. I see that the notice of dispute was not entered, even though you received my letter on January 1st. It should have been entered by January 30th. I'm not an expert, but I am aware that it's a violation. The following inaccurate accounts should be removed because of this violation and because of the additional inaccuracies that I've noted. Now, just a bit of a note here. Now, let me see if I can grab a highlighter on this. Let's use yellow and see what happens. Okay, so if you want to, this doesn't sound crazy, but if you want to, you could literally just include this first line. I see that you ignored my letter. You didn't enter the notice of dispute. Blah, 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 blah. And then just go down to your disputed accounts. Now, why would we do that? Well, we're beginning and ending our letter as soon as it begins. You only need to let them know why you're sending the letter and the outcome that you want, okay? So not everything is a requirement, all right? So let me just go and erase this really, really quick. Now we're going to go down to our disputed accounts, and I did add in an example. So If you recall, we have to let them know what we are disputing, why we're disputing it, and the outcome that we seek. And we're going to be using the Agero formula, which is, I'm just going to type it out for you just real quick, and I'm not going to pause the video on this. The Agero formula is really simple. It is action, justifier, element, reason, outcome. And this is really for late payments, okay? So the action on this dispute reason right here is going to be delete, right? Because we have delete this account. The justifier is always going to be because. The element that we are disputing is the first date of delinquency. And the reason is right here. The first date of delinquency is inaccurate and reports as 3/3/2021 on Experian, 1/1/2019 on Equifax, and 2/2/2018 on TransUnion. Okay. So let's just grab that. We're going to paste it right here. And now if we're doing this backwards, if we're building out our Agero formula, we would write down the action, delete, justifier because, element, first date of delinquency, and then the reason, blah, blah, blah. And then when we put it all together, this is the formula that the resulting reason from the formula, okay? So first date of delinquency is inaccurate, reports as 3/3/2021 in Experian, 1/1/2019 on Equifax, and 2/2/2018 on TransUnion. Delete this account. Now, if you want more information on this dispute reason formula that generated 20,000 deletions in 2020 and 23,000 deletions in 2021, I'm going to post the videos that correspond with that down in the description. So make sure you head down in there after you watch this entire video and check that out, because it is going to change the way that you dispute and the results that you're going to get from it. Okay. So now your letter closing is very simple. How do you want to close a letter? Like I said, is it a regular regular request, urgent? What is it? This is really simple. It just says, please send me a new credit report reflecting these changes. Thank you. And you would put your name after that. So what was the entire point of this? Well, we built out our letter. Now we just need to put everything together. And this is what our letter would look like. We have our personal information. And let me just go grab a pen real quick. We are going to use blue. So we have our personal information. We have our letter date. We have our recipient. We have our first paragraph. We have our disputed account. We have our dispute reason. We have our closing, and then we have our name. So that is the entire point of putting everything like this, breaking it all down. All right. So now the next part of this is where I'm going to show you exactly what you need to be looking for on a credit report so that you can go and get your results. Now, take a look at the accounts that this person has. They have 14 derogatory on TransUnion, 14 on Experian, and 10 on Equifax. They have 4 collections on Experian, 4 on TransUnion, and we're going to go one by one, and I'm going to show you how you would build out these disputed accounts and reasons if we were going to put them in this letter. So let's say that this is our letter right here. We're going to add, first of all, I'm actually going to change the format of this. This is how all of my disputed accounts look like. So we're going to start building out our disputed accounts down below Capital One using this credit report right here as if it belonged to this client. Now, as you can see, we are talking about the disputed, the notice of dispute in this letter, but as you can see right here, it actually says dispute resolved reported by grantor. Account was in dispute, now resolved reported by subscriber. And this one actually doesn't have the notice of dispute. If it did, it would be right here. So Equifax is in violation for this JPMCB card account by not entering the required notice of dispute, but Experian and TransUnion are not. All right. So if this were in fact a letter that I was writing for this client, I would not be using this first paragraph. I would very simply use something else like, you know, you didn't correct the inaccuracies on this on these accounts, delete them, and then these are the disputed accounts. All right. So we're going to go and find our first account that needs to be disputed and removed. Now, when you see a lot of green, obviously that means that either we can't see the late payments on the account or there are no late payments or collections for that. So we're just going to keep on scrolling down until we find our first one. And I did choose a credit report that actually has quite a few negative items. All right, so let's get started. Just a little bit of a note here. Sometimes you're only going to have one bureau to dispute, and I do have a video on that. If I remember, I'll post it down in the description. But as you can see, let me just see if I can make this a little bit bigger. We'll make this... Oh, I can't make it wider because it's going to go outside. Okay, we'll just have to do it this way. I think they're all going to follow me. Okay, that's a little bit better. So as you can see, this one only reports on Equifax, and this is actually a collection. So let's go right up here. Yeah, let's start with portfolio. Okay, so this is a collection. It only reports on one bureau, but I know that because this is an Equifax account that starts with sync and then the number, the other two bureaus are reporting in a different part. I went and I did look at the date last active, and the date last active is different on each bureau. Now, one thing that you want to note on here is that a collection should not have a late payment in the payment status. It should say collection, not late 120 days. So this is something that can be used to dispute this account. And if you check it out, there's all these on-time payments, even though no payment has been made by this client. So all of this is inaccurate. So if I were to go and write a dispute reason for this, I would very simply state for portfolio, and this is 01611711585. I'm going to say delete this account for inaccuracy. It reports as 120 days late on a collection. Now, as an alternate, and for an alternate, I am going to put an asterisk, and this is just so that you would know what else you could dispute. I could say that delete this account because the date last active reports as 2/1/2019, while the other two bureaus report, and then you would put the dates here. You could also say that delete this account because it reports inaccurate payment history between May 2020 and January 2022. All right. So going on to our next account, it's going to be the same. So let me get rid of this. As you can see for this account, so this one's going to be the same, 120 days late. So I'm not going to write up my dispute reason for this because it says 120 days late, just the same as the other one does. But I will note here, again, we have something in here that doesn't belong, and you can physically see it, 120-day late payment in the payment history. Now, where is the 90 days? Where's the 60 days? Where's the 30 days? Now, if you are going to write out a dispute reason for this, just so that you can see, even though I wasn't going to do it, you would say SECCREDIT, and this is account number 42914. Delete this account for inaccuracy because January 2022 shows as 120 days late without any prior late payments. And this would be such as 60 or 30 or even 90 days late. Okay, so let's go down to our next one. And as you can see, I'm not rushing through this. This is a workshop. This one actually goes with the other one. It's going to be the same thing. 120 days late, should not report. All right, this one's good. This is definitely not. This is an account that cannot be fixed. There's no way that you can go and attempt to fix this late payment history. Now, here's a note. Let's just pretend that these were not here. You can go and fix this, and you can go and fix this. All right, so I'm going to show you two ways to dispute this account. All right. We're going to go and add this down into our letter. So this is going to be Amera Honda, and this is account number 16572. To delete this account, you're going to say delete for inaccuracy because now let's go take a look at the actual account besides the payment history. I would not use the date last active. It's too close. I would not use the date last paid. It's too close. Let's take a look at date open is good. High limit. That's all good. That's all good. Date last reported. Okay. You can use the date last reported. So it should say actually 2022, but it says 11/26/19, 12/2/2019, and 2/1/2020, which means that these two bureaus didn't investigate last year or in 2020, and this one didn't investigate when I recently disputed it. Okay, so my recommendation though would be to dispute the late payment history. So for deleting this account, we're going to actually state, go fix this. This is going to be delete this account for inaccuracy, because now let's check it out. We could say we were not late on, let's go and remove this so I can read what these dates are. We could say let's remove this account because November 2018 was paid on time. We could say March 2018 was paid on time, and we could say May 2018 was paid on time. But if we're writing a letter to TransUnion or Experian, they both report on time for May 2018, so this would only work for Equifax. If you're looking for the same dispute reason across all three bureaus, then you would either want to use March 2018 or November 2018. So we're going to go back to November 2018. So November 2018 was paid on time. Now, your alternate, if you are trying to correct this account, if none of those tons of late payments existed, you would say, I paid on time March 2018. And obviously, you're going to want them to correct it. So update to paid on time, never late. Okay. Now, if you're trying to fix May and you're writing Equifax, you would say May 2018 is listed as 30 days late, even though I paid on time. And then you can even add in here that both TransUnion and Experian report correctly as paid. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, this is very, very important, and I need you to pay attention. What do you think this means? This is 2 years of charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off. Now, I know that millions of consumers have this issue, and most don't understand how this can be used to remove the account. So this is the reason that you see all of these charge-offs listed, and it's because the account is unpaid. If this actually had a zero balance or it reflected as paid, you would not see charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off. Something that you want to note here is that there should be no activity after this account was closed. So if it was closed in February 2020, or if it was closed in March 2020, which is probably when it was actually closed, then all of this would not exist here. It would just be empty. But because there is a balance, this is the reason why you're seeing this. So your dispute reason would look something like this. We're going to go scroll down. We're going to add this account in, and this is going to be city. And this is 542411812. Delete for inaccuracy, because this account reports 2 years of activity after the account was closed. Okay. Another thing that you can also look at, and this would be your backup, would be date less active right here. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. Pentagon. I'm not going to write this one out because it's basically exactly the same thing, but I would go after the payment history, and then I would go after the date less active. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so this is reported as a collection or a charge-off. Now, one thing to note here is that when it says collection charge-off, it's not a collection. It is, in fact, a charge-off, okay? So this is a charge-off with Pentagon, FCU. They are very difficult to remove, so you need to know exactly what you are talking about, all right? So let's check out the payment history. There's absolutely nothing down here for TransUnion and Experian, but how am I supposed to know when I was late or when you're saying that I was late if you're not reporting anything? You can actually go and look at Smart Credit for a 7-year payment history, but I would most definitely attack the date less active first. Second, I would go after the date less paid. Third, I would go after the payment history. All right. So if I were going to write this out, I would very, very simply state that for Pentagon 43067921, delete this account for inaccuracy. Actually, hold up. Okay, one thing I want to point out here is that this account was sold. Always be aware of this. This account was sold, okay? So because this account was sold, there's actually a few things now that I'm looking at it. This balance must report as 0. As you can see, it does, but I'm just showing you what to look for just in case you do see something totally different in your own credit report. So if there's a balance here and it says that it was sold, that is a violation. All right. Actually, it's not a violation. It is an inaccuracy. I don't want to say something that I'm not totally sure about. Okay. So, let's go check out the day last reported 2022, 2022. Okay. All right, so going back to writing my actual dispute reason, we're actually going to say date last active reports as, and that would be 4/16/18 on TransUnion, 1/1/19 on Experian, and 2/1/18 on Equifax. Next account. This is going to be basically the same thing, so I'm not going to go over this one. Okay, so actually, I just want to point out one thing. You see how there's a balance, but it has not been sold yet. It does not say, it says charged off, but it doesn't say that it was transferred or sold. Another thing you want to look at is the high balance, 490, 0, and 443. Another thing you want to look at is these dates are totally different. I mean, they are going to be different because the bureaus do their investigations at different times, even if they receive the letter at on the same date. But still, as long as it's really not off by that many months or it's not hella old, then they probably did do an investigation, a fake one at that. But just wanted to point out here that because there's a balance because it has not been transferred or sold. So you would go after this payment history here, activity after the close date. All right, so let's go down to the next one. Now, I am going to use this one very simply because it's got a lot to work with. So on this one, we are going to go and take a look at, all right, let's look at date less active. We have 1/2019, 2/2019, and 3/2018. You could start there. You can go after this first late payment date. You can go after the incongruent late payment history. As you see, it was charged off and then paid here, but why wasn't it marked as paid on the other bureaus? I don't know. Checking out. I always want to be aware on a charge off or on a closed account that the monthly payment reports as 0. If not, you definitely need to dispute it. All right, so let's construct our dispute reasons. This is going to be Pentagon. Account number is 30421. Delete this account because the date last active reports as 1/31/19 on TransUnion, 2/1/19 on Experian, and 3/1/18 on Equifax. Your alternate would be delete this account for inaccuracy because I was not late on May 2018. Another one would be because the payment history is inconsistent between all 3 bureaus, and then you would actually go and put the facts right here. All right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, now I'm not going to write this one out, but I am going to point it out. We have a little bit to work with here. We can go after the date last active. We can go after the date last paid. We can go after the fact that this one was not investigated because they didn't update the date last reported. We can go after 2 years of charge off. So payment history after, or excuse me, activity after the close date. And that's about it. All right. So you would very simply state delete this account because there's activity reported after the close date. You would list between March 2020 and February 2022, or because the date last active reports through different dates, or because this is specifically for TransUnion. I disputed this account last month in January, and you verified it as accurate, but the date last reported shows that you have not investigated this account since November 2019. All right. I hope you are getting the picture here. So if you were writing a dispute reason for this account, how would you do it? I want you to use the comment section and let me know, because this one's very, very easy. How would you go about disputing this account? I can show you how I would do it. We're going to go after the activity after the close date. So if you wrote that in the comments, you're correct. We can go after the date last active. We can go after the date last paid. We can go after the date last reported. And let's go check this stuff out. 4691, 4691, 2022, 2020. Yep, that's it. So if you did actually make it this far and you did actually go down into the comment section, then I appreciate your engagement on this video, and it shows me that you are actually getting some value out of it. All right, so we have a lot to work with on this account. Okay, so how about this one? This one says that the account information disputed by consumer meets FCRA requirements. All that means is it's the notice of dispute. And they said that it's correct, you're wrong, tough cookies, start over again. So because of who this is the actual debt buyer. This is not something that you would ever use a validation of debt on. So we're actually going to go after the date less active. This has been reaged. So it's probably 7/1/2021. I'd have to go look at the other account, but the fact remains that TransUnion re-aged this account to make it look newer. So now it's going to be 7 years after 2022 versus possibly the original date of 7/1/2021, which I think is also incorrect. So your dispute reason on this would be, and you know what, let's write it out just so that you can see how we would write out that for violation. So for specifically for TransUnion, we would say delete this account for violation because the date last active was re-aged from July 2021 to February 2022. All right, go to the next one. With this one, we would use a validation of debt. We would also go after the fact that the account was re-aged. As you can see, the date last active matches the date last reported, which it should not. Date last reported is correct on this. You go after the date last active on that. But I would very simply suggest using the validation of debt. All right, so let's keep going. Portfolio, this one goes with the other one. Portfolio, this one goes with the other one. City National Bank, you can go after this right here. You can go after this right here. It can't be charged off twice. And you can go after the date last active. And that's probably how I would remove it. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, one main. We're going to write this one out, all right? So first, let's go check out what we have. We have activity after the close date. We have different dates in the date less active and the date less paid. This account was not investigated. This account was not investigated here. And I would probably leave it at that. So let's go write our dispute reason for this account, which is going to be one main. Right, you can say delete for inaccuracy because of the activity after the close date between February 2020 and August 2021 in the payment history. Your alternate would be date last active reports as another alternate would be for TransUnion and Experian. Count was not investigated in the date last reported. Not updated since, even though you verified as accurate. All right, you see how that works? Let's keep it moving. Okay, you can go after payment history. You can go after date last active. You can go after date last paid. You can go after, not really date last reported. You can go after the high balance 5321, 53280 and 5213. So let's do that. Okay, so here we're going to state that for Synchrony Bank, Montgomery, and then parts. There's a lot that can be done. And yeah, let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see me do like dupes. I can do like dupe spotlights as well. I can do like a dupe of stuff. Oh, that was kind of all right. Oh, what the heck? The first one would be the activity after the close date and the payment history between those two dates. You would go for the date last active. Date last active reports as those dates, and the high balance as yeah, look at that. What the heck? All right. Go to the next one. All right, and this is going to be the very last one, right? So we would use date last active, right? Because we have 2 different years. We have date last paid. We have 2 different months. Date last reported, 2 different years. That's about it. Yep, 2016, 20. Okay, so to remove this one, it's going to be very, very simple. It's going to be the JCBM card. So JPMCB, if I could spell correctly, JPMCB card, right? 4246315218899. So it's going to be activity after close and payment history. Remember to put the dates. Second one is date last active. Remember to put the dates. Date last paid. Remember to put the dates. And date last reported. And remember to put the dates. All right. Now, as simple as this is to me, it may not be simple to you. And that's the reason that we do all of this, so that you can understand exactly what you need to do to remove your negative items. Because obviously this is a manual job. It is not simple. And it could be the difference between you getting results and never having these come off up to the statute of limitations. So this is definitely something that you need to do correctly. It's not want to do, but need to do. So if you want to learn more, obviously I have my videos. I'm posting this workshop down in the description, but you can always use the keyword search right here, type in workshop, It's right under where it shows fixing credit, the best credit channel right here. There's a keyword search. Just type in workshop, it'll come up. All right. I streamed this as a replay 2 days ago, by the way, and it's kind of like this one, except for this one goes more into detail. You can also look at learn to maximize credit sweep results workshop, but if you want to access exclusive content, I'm putting this link down in the description as well. I just launched this. So that means that you can get access to my Discord, which gives you exclusive access to me and to a bunch of stuff that I post even as recently as about an hour ago. All right. So this is really, 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 really simple. I post stuff that I just can't post on YouTube and that I don't want to post on YouTube. All right. So if you want to get access to me, access to a bunch of other awesome stuff, check this out. You get a 1-day free trial, but otherwise I have a ton of videos on here. There's about five to 650 of them, depending on if you're counting my unlisted videos. Or you can go to my740.com. You can choose any date and time to see if I can do this for you. And we'll see if this would be a good fit for a credit sweep. But otherwise, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Click on one of the other videos that show up. Make sure to like this video if you found it valuable, if you enjoyed the content. And otherwise, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so, because I put out videos like this that can be the difference, like I mentioned, between you getting results and not. All right. And I'm the only one that's going to share this stuff with you and basically tell you how it is. All right. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and hope to see you over here on my Discord server. I'm also going to give you the invite link so that you can access the free content that I post on here, such as like a clip of what I posted in the exclusive channel. But anyways, have a wonderful day. Again, subscribe if you haven't done so. Again, if you need me, go to my740.com. And otherwise, that is it. Bye.